Hello, everyone. Welcome to Her First Million, a YouTube channel tailored exclusively for women business owners in traditionally male-dominated spaces, fields like manufacturing, construction, and the trades. I am here as your host, Amanda Bedell, to guide you on this journey. With Her First Million, we're dedicated to providing 3 segments set to transform your business trajectory. First is love your numbers. This is where I get super nerdy with the numbers, and this isn't business accounting 101. This is financial management. That's where we demystify the numbers so that you can confidently make decisions in your business. Then in the other segment is called Ask Amanda, and that's where all of your questions take center stage, where no question is off limits. So whether that's sliding into my DMs for privacy or you share in the comments below, I am thrilled to hear from you and share insightful answers that can steer your business in whatever direction you need to go. And the last segment that I'm super excited about are the interviews, and that's what we're here to do. I sit down with trailblazing women entrepreneurs who have excelled in industries traditionally dominated by men. And in these interviews, we unearth the strategies to navigate through challenges and uncover the well-kept secrets that have led us to exceptional beyond $1 million and beyond. And today, right here, right now, we're live with one of those conversations with none other than Miriam Gilbert. Hi, Miriam. It's great to see you.
Hi, Amanda. I am so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Miriam has spent over 25 years as a senior corporate decision maker, executive, and Big Four consultant, and a CFO before making the leap into entrepreneurship when her son was born in 2011. Interesting. And setting up her corporate consultancy, she has worked with Fortune 100 companies and tiny little charities and everything in between. So all of this experience puts her in a really unique position that she's been on both sides of the table when it comes to working as a consultant with corporations. And because she's been in the boardroom when major decisions have been made, she has a deep understanding of the psychology and motivations that drive corporate buying decisions. Miriam is now sharing all of those insights with her clients, and those are small business owners and passionate experts like you. Her clients have won multiple 5- and 6-figure contracts, and they charge more than $15,000 for 3 90-minute online coaching sessions. And they can win their first clients within 2 weeks of working with her, so really quickly. She knows from experience that anyone can work with corporations with a high ticket offer as long as they can teach what they already know and make a difference in lives for their clients. That's what we all try to do. So, all right, Miriam, we're ready to see those big sales opportunities. Let's dive right in. How can female entrepreneurs position their services to stand out against in-house corporate offerings?
Well, that is such a good question because a lot of my clients come to me and they say, oh, I offer, for example, well-being practices, or I offer mindset or empowerment or productivity, but don't they have this in-house already?
Ooh.
And this is where my expertise of having been on the inside of corporates comes really to play, because yes, a lot of big corporations have got learning and development functions and teams who provide these kind of programs.
Mm-hmm.
And survey after survey, research after research shows that the actual leaders inside these big corporates are not happy with what their internal functions provide. And this is not necessarily the fault of the actual function, but it's if you have a generic program that is rolled out to many, 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 many different companies and many teams inside these companies, that will never be really customized and tailored, right? It's obvious. So what I teach my clients is to show how they can actually take their zone of genius and customize their offer to exactly what a particular team inside an organization needs at that point, Based on that history that that team has, they all have a certain culture, they all have a certain background and history, and really speak the language of that team, of those specific leaders. And that immediately makes them stand out, because it will just be, it's a bit like buying haute couture versus something from the shelf or off the rack in Walmart. So
Totally.
yeah.
So make sure that you put your unique spin on it and be really personable, is what I heard.
Really, really personable, really understand what's going on in a particular industry that you want to work with, understand the big debates that are happening, because the debates that are happening, for example, in automotive are very different to the debates that are happening in manufacturing, construction, or in manufacturing, or in retail. So you want to understand, what are the debates, what are the kind of things that the leaders inside of these organizations are thinking about. And I don't necessarily mean what's keeping them awake at night, because it's such an old trope. But just what will they read about? What will they hear? What will they chat to their colleagues and peers about? And when you have that kind of understanding, you can really start speaking their language, so that they see you not just as another service provider, but as an expert who is for them. And let's face it, we all want to go to the expert who makes us feel understood, right? We don't want to go to somebody who treats us like any other client, who just puts us through a process. We want to go to an expert who speaks to us. So that's the thing. Really understand what's going on, what are the big debates, what are the trends, and then customize and personalize how you communicate, how you articulate your work.
Yeah, I can see that. But what are some key elements that differentiate a corporate offer than what drives conversation, especially around like women business owners and male dominated sectors? So like what differentiates that corporate offer from something that we would do traditionally, I guess?
Well, first up, it's to realize that when you work with corporates, you can go high ticket very, very quickly. And that's actually a mistake I see a lot of people make, because they think they need to come into a corporate at a certain, price level, low price level, and think they can work their way up. Never really works. It's really, really hard to raise your prices once you're in. You need to start at a higher level. And you also need to start at a higher level of seniority of the people that you work with. It's much, much easier to sell to senior leadership than it is to sell to frontline or middle managers, because they don't have the same kind of buying authority. And they also don't have the big picture view of why your services might be exactly what they need. Whereas senior leaders, they will go like, okay, yes, we understand that we have a people challenge. So yes, we need to do something different with our well-being program, for example. We want to fill these gaps that other programs have left. So that's a very important part, is don't underprice yourself. Go in at a senior level, and actually go against what is taught too much in the online world of loading your trainings and programs with lots and lots and lots and lots of information. Those courses that have 100 video trainings.
No.
Don't do that. You don't want to overload these people. You want to give them transformations that they can apply really quickly. So those are 3 things that I would say are really important.
And then what strategies do we use to help us connect with decision makers in that area? So if we're going for that higher level buyer, how do we connect with them?
This is actually one of my favorite questions, because I always get asked like, oh, how do I find the right decision maker? How can I find it? And it's actually a 2-step question, because the first question you need to ask yourself is, who do you actually want to work with? Who is it? Do you want to work with the head of finance? Do you want to work with the head of customer services? Do you want to work with operational leaders? Being clear on that allows you to go like, okay, let's say you're somebody who's passionate about sales teams and selling, helping them to sell better. Well, that means you need to go to that, to the head of sales, the VP of sales, SVP of sales, whatever the role title is. And then you can start to find them. Defining your industry niche is also important in that, because if you cast your net too wide, it has too many big holes, right? Again, you need to speak to the challenges and everything that's going on in the industry. So be clear on who you want to speak to, and then you can go to places where they are. Now, they tend not to be Facebook groups, for example. They tend, to be honest, they don't even tend to be LinkedIn groups, because these people are quite busy, and their decision-making psychology is more around going to places where either their peers are or maybe their professional institutes, so if you in infrastructure construction, they'll go to the Institute of Civil Engineering. There's kind of special institutions, business schools. So those are the kind of places. And how do you connect with them there is this. You find out, are there any events that you can go to? That is one of my favorite tactics. It always works, because all of these events tend to have a networking element, and you can make connections. You can also see, do these places, do they, whether it's institutes or whether it's magazines, do they have spaces where you could write, which is, you can publish an opinion piece of why is well-being really important in the tech sector, or, whatever industry you've chosen. And you basically go to the places where these leaders will consume, hang out, speak to peers, and you try to get in front of them. Saying all of that, don't underestimate the effectiveness of smart outreach. It actually works. They picking up the phone or sending smart emails. If they're well researched and well done, it does actually work.
The personal touch.
Yeah.
It's so when we're going after that higher ticket, you can't just do a cookie cutter.
No.
And outreach and then expect to go on to social media where it's, wild.
No. It's very different. And the thing is to remember that when it comes to corporates, you don't need thousands of clients to make big impact and big money. I mean, think about it. You don't even need hundreds. If each client is worth, and this is something I teach in one of my signature programs on how to structure your offer portfolio. But if your entry gateway offer is worth a minimum of 5K for a 4 to 6 hour delivery, that's less than a day. So you earn 5+ K for that as a very minimum, and then upsell that. It's very quickly, you 3-4 clients a year. And obviously you can scale that, to the 7 figures with just a few more clients. So you don't need to do the social media where you have to have thousands and thousands of followers.
Yeah, that's something that we talk a lot about, and where does social media really lie in your lead generation strategy? And I love that you brought up that piece of a lot of times with my clients, I go, okay, how many people are in the world? Billions of people are in the world. Okay. How many people are in the United States of America, if that's where you want to work, or, UK, Australia, wherever you are in the world, like how many people are on that continent? And then how many people are in your state? How many people are in your town? Okay. What percentage of people in your town do you need to work with? And that, it just brings that overwhelm down to, oh, okay, I don't need to cast a wide net here.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about targeting and knowing that target market and your dream client.
Yeah.
But that offer is so important too. Like one of my advisors said to me one time, you need to solve expensive problems for people that have money.
Mm, mm. Absolutely. And when it comes to corporates, you want to solve expensive problems and you want to save them time.
Mm-hmm.
That is the absolute crux, because if it looks like a lot of work and effort and time,
Mm-hmm.
forget it. They will not be interested. And I have seen people try to sell offers to senior corporate leaders where the leader would need to spend 2 hours a week on doing something for 6 months. That is a real hard sell. That is
Mm-hmm.
really difficult to do, because, you know, even MBA programs
Mm-hmm.
struggle to get that kind of commitment out of senior leaders. So that is, if you're putting yourself in those shoes, you're competing with, the Stanfords and the Harvards and all that. I don't think you want to do that. Make it easy. Make it
Make
easy.
it simple. Yeah. Do we feel like we got all of the connection pieces for decision makers, like the strategies around that? Um, how to empower us, like as consultants in, I see corporations as being like male dominated spaces for the most
Mm,
part and around the, the decision making table. So the strategies to really connect with those decision makers. Did we get them
yeah.
all? Yeah.
I think there's one other thing that is particularly important for women-owned businesses, and that is that I see a lot of women shying away from making the impact of their work really tangible.
Mm.
They shy away from saying, well, yes, actually, my work empowering female leaders can save this business money or can make this business money. And that is a shame, because
Mhm.
number one, it can. It absolutely can, and most likely will make or save them money. And I always think in corporates it's quite easy to bring everything down to an ROI impact as well as a human impact. Um, but it also means that when women don't put the tangible aspect of their work out there, they are always disadvantaged, because in corporates you have several people making that buying decisions, and some will need to see a tangible impact. In fact, when I was CFO and somebody in the team came to me and said, oh, I want to hire this coach, or I want to go send my team on a training program, I'd say, like, okay, where's the business case? Show me.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was coming from me as a woman. And whereas, I completely agreed that it's a good thing for these people to get trained or get a coach.
Mhm.
I did want to see the money. You need to do that. And when women don't do that, they automatically come off as less confident of the impact of their work. And that
Mhm.
disadvantages you. So
Mm.
work out what the impact is.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I do feel that as women entrepreneurs, we shy away from the money. And that's why the show is called Her First Million. And I've even had people come on and be like, well, it's not necessarily about the money. And I'm like, yeah, no, it is.
Oh, it is.
And let's stop pretending, or, softening it to the point of, because yes, we do want humans to excel.
Yeah.
And when in business is all about humans, that's all they are. Like
Yeah.
corporations are a collective of human beings. Um,
Absolutely.
but
And
yes, that business case. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
yeah, sorry, because there's this point. Oh God, I'm so passionate about this
Yeah,
particular point, because I learned it
please.
the hard way and I want people not to have to learn that.
Uh-huh.
Most of us are entrepreneurs because we want to make an impact. And in
Mm-hmm.
corporates, when you undercharge, they will not take you serious.
Mm-hmm.
They will not. And I've learned that in the first few years of my business, even though I should have known it, but well, we all do this. I underpriced myself. And then They would say, oh, your work is amazing and great workshop, da, 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 da. And nothing changed. Nothing really happened. And the moment I raised my prices, I tripled and then quadrupled them. All of a sudden, people came back to me, I use your framework every day. My clients love it. Oh, my team, we do what you told us. We do this every meeting and they're amazing. So you go like, oh, crikey.
Isn't that, oh my gosh, I'm working on a couple new products, so maybe I needed to hear that today.
Yes, do, absolutely.
So whatever price I think, I'm going to double it or triple it. No, I'm just kidding. So the perception is when we're selling in the corporate world, it's super time consuming. Like I have I have a construction general contractor client who, we bid out and we don't get, we've got our work for 2025. So time consuming, long lead times. How can an ambitious businesswoman expedite this process?
My biggest tip there is not to go to new contacts and try to sell them a big ass program. My recommendation is go in and sell them at a good price, like not cheap, make them pay, but what I call a gateway offer, so that they get to experience your work. And while you're delivering this, don't wait till the end. While you're delivering them, show them all the extra transformation that they will get if they continue to work with you. Because once they have invited you into their house, so to say, by getting you in and they're seeing the transformation you bring them in that gateway offer, and they keep hearing like, well, we cover this, we're getting these results, that's great. And then when we continue, we're getting also these other results that, longer work will bring. That is when they are keen, when they are interested, when it becomes easy for them to say yes. And that is how you really expedite your sales cycle. And that's exactly how one of my clients, it took her 2 weeks to get in with a gateway offer. And within, I think it was 3-4 weeks of delivering that gateway offer, it was split over several sessions, they were in talks about a 6-figure offer. And yes, these talks will then, they can take a little bit of time, but if you're already in and delivering, the solution was, because it would take a bit of it, let's keep rolling over. So she was still making great money and expediting that big contract at the same time. And that is what the secret is, really.
Oh, wow. What if someone comes up with, oh, that's too expensive? What do we do in that moment when people, it's deemed by the corporate clients as too expensive?
Now, there will be 2 types of people. And the first type will be the ones who really just don't see the value. And they're just talking to you because they are, completing a tick box exercise. And to be honest, my recommendation is to say, fine, whatever. These are not the people to work with, because if you're passionate about your topic, you don't want to work with somebody who just wants to do a tick box exercise so they can say that they've done it. That is very dissatisfying and it's not a great client. The other type, where they might say this is too expensive, well, you want to dig into what's actually behind that. And as a former CFO, I can tell you, corporates can find the money. They can absolutely 100% find the budget if they want what you have. Because I know, having been asked so many times by my fellow board members, like, oh yeah, we want to invest in this. And I was like, yeah, but we didn't budget for that. Oh, you can find the budget. And guess what? I always did. So it can be done. What you might have to do is actually help the person who is trying to buy your services. So you might help them with a business case. You might help them understand where the likely blockers are. Or you could look at, can you de-scope or re-scope the piece of work that you're doing so that it fits into certain budget envelopes. So, could some budget be found from one pot and some more budget found from another pot? Or could it be split over the year end? Because a lot of businesses have annual budget cycle. So you could do a lot of different things around there. The key is to keep talking to the person and understand what sits underneath their assertion that it's too expensive.
Yeah, that unique value. I feel that sometimes, especially female entrepreneurs, we have a hard time communicating that and what we're bringing to the table sometimes.
Yeah, and that's where it comes back to saying, making the impact of your work tangible. It's great to talk about the intangible factors, the feel good, the mindset, the empowerment. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then link it back to what does it mean from a ROI perspective to the clients. Because when you can show that they're getting an ROI of 1 to 5, 1 to 10, in fact, most of the time it's 1 to 20 and more. If they can save 100K, they'd be crazy not to pay you 10K for 3 days. They'd be crazy. If they can save, and it's very easy, I do this with my clients and in my various programs where I take them through. If they can stop certain people leaving their business, that will most likely save them $500,000 easily per year. So of course they should be paying you 50K for that. I mean, it's crazy not to.
When you put it like that, it feels so like duh, right? But when we're building our offers from the ground up and looking at like hourly rates or packages, and we tend to, just stare ourselves into it. Like I think of it even, let's go outside of, consulting or service-based businesses and looking at something like a spa where they've got like their 10% discount. Like, will that really help us get in? No. So building that offer with knowing that your impact has $500,000 savings in it that's a huge game changer. So bringing in some of those statistics on when people stay, keeping people is better than a consistent turnover. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And I mean, in my work with both group coachings as well as one-on-one, we spend quite a lot of time on the practical aspects of how to work all of this out, but also on the mindset shifts. And one fact that I always share with people is that, a McKinsey junior analyst, like somebody just out of university who hasn't got much experience, gets charged out for an average of between 25 and 30K a week. And they're just, they're smart, talented people, but they're not even the expert, they're just the junior analyst. And you go like, okay, and companies buy. Companies pay. So it's not really a matter of they don't have the money. It's a matter of positioning yourself as an authority who can help them achieve tangible results with a transformation that they desire. And when you do that right, when you message that right, then they will pay.
I feel like knowing your value in that business case feels like the essential insight that our listeners should be aware of today to reach their first $1 million in revenue. But what do you think? Is there anything else in your arsenal of all of the different experiences that you've come? Is there one takeaway that we should give our listeners outside of that one that will help them reach their first $1 million?
The thing that made the biggest difference in my business, and the thing that ever since I understood it, I see it. It's the same for every successful entrepreneur. In fact, every successful business person. That is, you have to absolutely love, and cherish what you do, your work. You have to love it so much that you think it's the most perfect thing. Yes, of course, you want to keep improving. That's fine. But you have to love it in such a way that you can't help but knowing that it's the best thing for somebody to buy it. Then you will talk about it with a level of conviction. You will talk about it, articulate its value. You will not shy away from putting tangible ROI to the impact. You will find networking, outreach, all that. It will become effortless because it's a bit like if you had the cure for cancer, wouldn't you shout it from the rooftop? Of course you would. So you have to love your work to that level, and that really requires, for many of us, some mindset work. And I think that is really important as any part of business development. It's also working on that level. I kind of wish I had started earlier, but that's my big tip. Work on it right from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. And do you have any recommendations on resources like books or workshops that have helped influence your journey so far?
Oh my gosh, I've been thinking about that question so much because I knew it was coming up.
Yes. I did prepare her.
Yes, I've had great mentors, and their courses have been incredible, by the amazing Bushra Azar, and the messaging work by Liane Jamie Lopez, and mostly, and that's been fabulous. But the book that's actually changed the most for me is not a business book per se, but it shifted how I saw the importance of my work, and which brings me to that, like, you have to love it. And it's got a terribly boring title. It's called Reinventing Organizations, but it is amazing, by Frédéric Laloux, and it describes organizations who operate at a completely different paradigm. I mean, they're nothing like any companies that you can see out there, and yet all of them are very successful. They are so good for the humans who are inside, and they are so good for their clients as well. And reading that book shifted my approach to business, because I enjoyed what I was doing before, but now I fell in love with what I was doing, because I'm like, wow, when I do this, I can shift corporate culture. And when I can shift corporate culture, I can make the world a better place, quite literally. And I go, oh. Okay.
So cool.
It's absolutely, I want everybody to read that book. Everybody who wants to work with businesses.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, I could talk about this for a very long time. I think those are my key messages.
Those are your key ones. Great.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share with our listeners before we close out today?
Well,
any last words of wisdom?
it is my mission to help passionate experts get into corporates, because I know we can really make a huge difference. Because if we can shift how corporates are run internally and make them happier places, it has such a huge ripple impact, and they will make better decisions, not just for themselves, for their own companies, but actually for society around them as well. And that is, I think, an amazing thing. And I think together we can literally change the world. So
It's true.
Please come and work with
believe
corporates.
it. I believe you. I totally do. That is such a great note to leave on. We can change the world. Yes, we can. We can keep what works and ditch the rest and move forward with really great strategies. So, Miriam, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. For those of you that want to see the link to that book, I'll put it down in the video in the description here later today. And thank you so much for tuning in. For all of you that are ready to make your first or next million, jump into the next Her First Million 5-day focus that's coming up on Monday, just a few days away. And that's where I show you proven steps in the exact framework to build a business reaching 7 figures consistently. So if you've been in business for at least 3 years, you may have hit a wall. Or if you're like I was at my bakery business, I was hitting over 2 million annually, but I was working all the time. And or if you're around that 500K a year mark with the dreams of what that $1 million business could look like on you, all you have to do is follow the proven steps, and I'm going to show them to you all for free. So all you have to do is sign up for 60 minutes a day for 5 days in a row, and you'll get to live interact with me, and you'll get that 7-figure framework that you can use now and well into the future. It's a total immersive educational experience on Zoom where we're, interacting in real time. We get to experience connection too in a room filled with like-minded people excited to help each other collaborate and grow. And the only way to get this done is with accountability. You'll have simple, achievable steps every single day that get you toward that goal, so that at the end of the 5 days, you're not just inspired and supported, right? We get so excited when we do events like this, but we have taken massive action each and every day that will be felt for months, if not years, in your business. No joke. So in the description today, I will put that enrollment link in there. Your future awaits, and I can't wait to see you on day 1. And if you like what you hear, please remember to subscribe and hit that notification button and stay in the loop on the next episode of Her First Million. Until next time, here's to your success. Thank you. See you later.